Welcome to episode 3 of Field Trip into Gerol's Brain. So, I've been thinking about a contradiction in our classes. On the one hand, we believe and tell students that learning is multifaceted, not reducible to a single, simple representation of success. On the other hand, almost all of us work in systems where, at the end of the term, everything is compressed down to a single, simple representation of success, the final grade. And worse, the measures of achievement throughout the course are also generally grades, which feed into that final grade. Sure, we do give recognition of various kinds, but this non-grade feedback is rarely, if ever, systematized, or seen as meaningful beyond the course. While a grade has global meaning and matters in very immediate ways beyond the present term. And as long as a grade matters to students in ways that non-grade recognition doesn't, they'll tend to care about grades first, and the rest of it, no matter how much we insist on its value, tends to fade into the background, and this trend can get magnified in our particular system. So what can we do to foreground non-grade recognition so that students actually perceive it as meaningful? Here are 4 suggestions. Number 1, make it systematic. Grades have meaning because we all know their framework. Context helps show students how to value your non-grade recognitions. Gamification has a lot to say about designing systems that encourage participation, earning ranks or badges, for example. Number 2, make it consequential. Let's be frank, pure altruists are rare. At least in part, students work in class to achieve some benefit. The benefit of grade is obvious. You can incentivize your non-grade recognitions by attaching them to immediate benefits. Attend a virtual office hour, 24-hour extension on your deadline of choice. Number 3, reward behaviors you value. Want to encourage your students to draft, meet deadlines, initiate study groups. Ideally, these aren't things we reflect in a grade, right? They're not direct expressions of content mastery, but they certainly make grades higher, more likely. They're perfect candidates